Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Movie and a Hunt. I'm RJ.
And I'm Paige.
And today we are talking about 1984's Gremlins. It was released in June. This is a Christmas movie. What the fuck?
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
I looked this up because I was like, wait, this movie got its rating changed 2 months after it came out, which would have been August. But that means it came out in June. But this is so fucking Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah.
Great opening. We didn't watch the trailer.
Oh, shit. We didn't.
We didn't watch the trailer. I wasn't gonna. Listen, after episode 1, we watched the trailer for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
The bar
the
for trailers has been set, and no other movie can reach the bar of stock gobble sounds.
Very true. I don't think I'll ever forget that movie. Put that out there. But
I
now,
will say, ever since we recorded it, I've had scenes replaying in my head. Mainly the chopped salad scene. It interests me, and I'm like, I want to watch the movie again just to get to that scene.
RJ, do you understand that those are symptoms of torture?
I thought you were saying I was going to Stockholm syndrome myself.
I mean,
into liking the movie, but no. Thanksgiving is great, but this isn't about Thanksgiving. This is also about another good, not as good as Thanksgiving. I'll say that much. Let's talk about the Gremlins.
Yeah, this is our first of 2 holiday-themed movies for our second season. It's by who? Who's this guy? Who's it?
Well, he produced it. Steven Spielberg produced it.
Yeah, that guy. But you could tell it's definitely one of his movies. I didn't think I was gonna like this movie, and I ended up liking it. I don't know why.
You bitched and moaned and complained for the better part of a year because this movie was coming. Now, initially, back when we were delusional, and we thought we could do 2 movies in 1 episode. No, we can't. This was supposed to be a double feature. We would have been here all day having to record this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
An hour and 46 wasn't awful.
No.
But, you know what? Instead of starting with it's the trailer, how about I start you with a few fun facts?
Yes, please.
Howie Mandel's the voice of Gizmo.
What? Is that the least interesting fact that you have?
He didn't sing, but
oh, okay.
He was recommended by the guy who voiced Stripe, who was also the voice of Fred in Scooby-Doo. Oh,
wow.
Which makes sense. Get a voice actor, do voice acting. But yeah, Howie Mandel's Gizmo.
That's crazy.
It was inspired, the writer was inspired by it by mice that lived in his apartment. And I was like, you know what? He probably lived in New York. It checks.
It makes a lot of sense.
I'll do the second most, and then I'll hit you with the biggest one, because the biggest one's actually pretty interesting. The second one was the female lead, who was
Kate.
It was Katie? Kate, but she was barely a lead.
Yeah. She's a romantic interest.
Basically. Producers were hesitant to cast her initially.
Why?
She did a bare chest scene in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And they thought it would be bad PR if they casted her.
Yeah, because now she's immoral and such.
Yeah. And now it's someone asked me on a Monday, oh, what'd you do? I'm like, oh, I saw 9 titties, 3 dicks. They're like, oh, so you watched Game of Thrones last night? I was like, yep. Average Sunday.
Yeah, how times have changed. That's one evident thing.
This is how times have changed. So, remember how I just said a couple minutes ago, this movie got a rating change 2 months post-release?
Mm-hmm.
That's because this movie... And I was watching it. I'm like, I'm looking for the outrage it caused. I'm looking for where the parents are like, my baby. I couldn't find it. I genuinely couldn't find it. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, so parents, of all the things you chose to be outraged about, killer Furbies was your hill that you were going to be offended about. So, did you know that, until 84, the MPAA, it only had 2 ratings. It was PG and R.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So that's what it was. It was PG and R. Hence is why if you look at a lot of movies that are PG back then, they probably should have been PG-13. PG-13 didn't exist. Welcome Gremlins, or in part Gremlins. Basically, public outrage from Temple of Doom and Gremlins, 2 Spielberg movies, was a possibility that the movies would be moved to an R rating, and that's basically a death sentence. And Gremlins is not R. So Spielberg advised the MPAA to be like, hey, can we just maybe create a new rating? And the MPAA was like, oh, advice from Steven Spielberg, global icon and voice of a generation. Why wouldn't we listen to him? So this is the craziest thing. The PG-13 has been around for less amount of time than it wasn't around.
Wow.
It took 62 years for it to come around. It hasn't even been 40 that it's been around yet.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
July 1st, 1984, the PG-13 rating was made official.
Wow.
And then Gremlins was switched to that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow, that's some good little film fact you got there. Wow.
Yeah. So I was guessing maybe the end scene where Stripe is disintegrating. Maybe that was the that's too much scene.
Is it the guns?
I never thought about that because I'm just so used to guns in movies. But I forgot this is PG. It's kids. Technically.
Yeah.
I will say this is a good kids' first horror movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
All right. But I hit you with the fun facts. I have some other stuff to go through at this episode, all of the ad placement. It has broken the record. It's going to take a lot to break this record. At some point, towards the end of the movie, I'm like, there's more?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, this is the end. It's there's a fucking another one. Of course there is. And then they showed, the stuffed animals. I'm like, I'm not including these. This is bullshit if I start including the stuffed animals. But I'll get into that while we're getting into the movie. Let's get into this episode.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, we start this movie very racist.
I mean, it's the 80s, and we're coming off of, Temple of Doom?
Yeah.
So, and...
I mean, this movie says we hate foreigners.
100%.
This is We Hate Foreigners, the movie.
Immediately, we were 3 minutes in, and I'm like, I need to get, a problematic jar or something like that.
The problematic jar was full by the time Gremlins started up.
Yeah.
So basically, we start in Chinatown. And in what scene appears to be just a dude trying to get to a shop, turns out he's trying to sell a stupid, dumb, basically bathroom switchblade is what I'll call it.
It's called the Bathroom Buddy. Okay, get it right.
Listen, if I told somebody, "Do you want to buy a Bathroom Buddy?" That's not what's coming in their head.
I have to start with this being another thing that I really liked about this movie was the use of practical effects. I know I'm always ranting about how much I love that, but seeing a Spielberg movie really kind of brings it back home because he's really, really good at that stuff. Just the Bathroom Buddy itself, they didn't have to make this. You know what I mean? They put money into this. And all the dad's little gadgets in the kitchen and in the house and everything were really cool. But yeah, I just had to point that out. I'll start that here, and then I'll just encompass it all. The practical effects and the puppetry and the stop motion are really, 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 really good in this movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the minute we get to Gizmo,
yeah,
I know that's where it's really on display with Gizmo. Basically, he hears singing, and they're like, oh, that's a Mogwai. And basically, they back alley sell Gizmo to this dude.
Yeah,
the kid's like, $200. Let's do it.
Yeah, the grandson's like, we need the money. Grandpa, you're crazy. I'm gonna go sell this little thing to the guy on the side.
But part of me's like, why do you need the money? You have a shop. Like, where's... I need the dynamic of why we need money. Either way, it is now 2 days after Thanksgiving that we're recording this.
Yes.
And this movie hits you with Christmas. The minute the credits start going, they're like, boom, Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to play some Christmas music with some Christmas snow. It's different snow because it's Christmas snow. Listen here. With Christmas trees and people Christmas bitching.
Christmas caroling. This
Christmas
is one
bitching
of those,
is very different than normal bitching.
This is one of those movies where if someone argues that this isn't a Christmas movie, they're wrong. Just like Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
That was going to be my next question. I was going to get your opinion on Die Hard.
Yes, it is a Christmas movie, and I love it. And
so here's my question.
End of story.
For something like a Christmas movie, does it just have to take place during Christmas to be a Christmas movie, or does it have to have Christmas aesthetic as well?
I would say both for me, but more like it takes place around Christmas. Like it's apparent in the universe that it's around Christmas time.
Okay. I still don't know why this movie was released in June.
Yeah.
But we get Barney in his Volkswagen. And then we get foreigners. You know, foreigner cars are awful. It's like, in the year of our Lord 2022, domestic cars are pretty fucking bad compared to the foreign ones.
And also, this just doesn't age well. It's obviously very racist.
So part of me just thinks, like, was this Spielberg maybe trying to be funny, or does he believe this shit? Because you go and watch his other movies, and this isn't like a one-time offense.
Right. So that makes me believe that he probably does believe in this stuff. But hey, who knows? I don't know. I'm not doing my research. I'm going to be honest.
I mean, here's the thing. I think it's only because we know of the stereotype and stuff like indie.
Yes.
Indie's pretty bad, but, you know. It's not in all his work, but it's prevalent when it kind of is in his work. That's kind of the thing. However, we get introduced to Billy. Bushy hair Billy.
Also, Barney is a really well-behaved and good acting dog. He was adorable.
Barney's old.
Really?
Barney, you can tell in that movie, Barney was old.
But anyways, I love that dog.
Oh, give him an Oscar.
Yeah.
Best actor of 1984, Barney. But, you know, we get introduced to the family. He works at a bank because it's the 80s and like...
It's a small town. He works as a teller, yeah.
I feel like a lot of movies in the 80s, like a lot of jobs that like were portrayed, a lot of them were bank tellers for some reason. Was that like a dream job?
I don't know. Maybe.
Go talk to your mom. Be like, Mom, like in the 80s, was like bank teller like the thing to be?
It's a stable job, so.
It's one step above customer service.
Hey.
And that step isn't high. That step's like you moved an inch. Either way, we get introduced to the Grinch. Basically, they just told her, like, watch Dr. Seuss's The Grinch, then be like him.
Mrs. Deagle, I think her name is.
Mrs. Deagle. And she, I will say, the only thing I thought was funny is A, the music when she's around, and B, just this crazy lady holding the head of, like, a porcelain snowman.
Yeah. So we meet her, and to me, she gives off the vibe of immediately, especially her vocal, like, cadence is like the Wicked Witch of the West in Wizard of Oz.
See, that's what you say. I'm going to ask you after this, like, go watch the Dr. Seuss's animated Grinch movie. She talks the same.
Oh, okay.
She even does the same lip twirls. I'm like, ew, why?
But, yeah, she's portrayed as, like, a spinster lady who just loves money. She's like a Mr. Scrooge and crazy cat lady, because apparently, you know, single lady has to be a crazy cat lady. Yeah, but she does a good job acting.
Oh, no, she does a good job. It's just the character is really fucking annoying.
Oh, yeah.
And then we get introduced to, oh, God, is this the ugliest outfit this movie has?
Yes.
Is this like the ugly one?
It was horrible. It was so distracting. I wasn't paying attention to her.
I forget the scene. I think it was about a petition of some sort. But I forget it because the only thing I was focused on was like how holographic her buttons on her blouse was.
Yeah. So yeah, we meet the love interest Katie or Kate, whichever. She is very bah humbug about Christmas. Do you want to talk about why she is right now? Because it's fucked up.
It's fucked up, but it's like comedically fucked up.
It is, but like, it's really bad. Like, who came up with this? So basically,
it is, but I couldn't help laughing when she did it. I was just like, the one way this. I remember you were like. We were watching it and you're like, what's in the chimney? And I'm keeping my mouth shut. I'm like, bitch, it's the body. There's a body in the chimney.
So her dad, when she was 9 years old, I guess they were waiting for him to come home, and it was like Christmas Eve or right before Christmas Eve. I don't fucking know. I think it was Christmas Eve. And he doesn't come home. They don't know what's wrong. They call the police, and for some reason they checked the chimney. I guess there was a smell or something. They thought it was a dead bird or something. Turns out to be Dad in a Santa suit. He got stuck. Oh no, he didn't get stuck. He broke his neck. Going down the chimney with presents. So what I've learned is her dad's a Looney Tune and thought this was a great idea.
This is shit that like literally that would be done in the Looney Tunes.
That's what I'm saying.
This is literally it. This is like
Elmer Fudd coming down that chimney.
She did the story, and I was like, "Oh my god, did Daddy leave or did Daddy die? I need to know. I need to know where this goes." Because him leaving and not coming back is comedic. Mm-hmm. Him dying is sad, but then they made his death comedic.
And it's like, I don't know whether to laugh or be sad about this.
Oh, I was laughing my ass off. Well, it's because this movie does melodrama in the worst way possible. Like, it's so campy. It's so bad. Like, going back to Mrs. Deagle, when the wife and the two children are like, we don't have the money, and she's like, I guess you have to kill Santa for, and then like they do the it's so melodramatic.
And they're like, Mommy, I'm hungry, and Mom's like, yeah, so am I. I'm like, oh god,
walk away. So I will let you know, it's not the content. It's not like the content that's hilarious about her father's death. It's the context in the whole entire scene of her kind of getting like point lit in a very just like, why is lighting hitting her like this? This doesn't make sense. And her inability, like, it's purely static acting while she's performing this monologue. It's so static that it's comedic.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's everything else around the story that makes it funny. And I'm just like, please. She was like, and there's a smell in the chimney. I'm like, oh, let it be the body. Please. This is all I need to hear. It's the body. But see, it even got me. Because I thought the body was just going to be a thing where they were like, oh, his body got stuck.
Then they went into detail. We're like, no. He died instantly because his neck broke. I'm like, what? Okay.
But part of me is thinking, like, how do you break your neck?
In the chimney. Down. I was thinking he got stuck. Anyways, we're getting way too deep into this, and that's way at the end of the movie. Let's get back to Mrs. Eagle and the bank, whatever. Oh, the dog wrecked her snowman statue, and she wants to kill the dog.
She's parading around the town like a crazy lady with her porcelain snowman's head.
So maybe this is why I thought she reminded me of the Wicked Witch of the West from Wizard of Oz, because she's like, I'll get your dog too.
Yeah, that was a plot point, I guess.
Yeah.
She was like, I'll kill it. And I'm like, the dog didn't even try to. Okay, no, the dog did bite her. The dog did go at her, but she went at the dog.
She has a weak heart, remember?
And then we go to I will say, the minute we go to the bar after this, I was shook by seeing the bank teller there. I was like, did they have to reuse the same actress? And they're like, are you work here too? And I'm like, oh, thank God, it's in the plot. I was really scared. I was about to think that everyone just started looking alike. I didn't want to be that guy. And also, there's like a dude. I guess we see him for like 5 seconds. He's just like, I'm 23 and I'm amazing. He's like, shut the fuck up, dude.
I feel like there was maybe some sort of plot with him that was cut out, and like maybe the Gremlins were supposed to kill him because he is a shitty dude, but that didn't happen.
Oh, Gremlins most definitely were gonna get to him. Unless, he comes back in the sequel and he's like, I'm a decent human being now.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's nice.
That's true.
Either way, we get back to the house, and then 80s. Oh, this house, 80s. That rug, but the thing was, it was wood and rug. Choose. Just choose.
It's the 80s.
And also,
it's the 80s.
Why? Just layout-wise. I open your door. The first thing I don't want greeting me is a fucking staircase.
So that is very common. It was a very common house design back in the day. They have like the different levels for all the different rooms. It was kind of like a divider type thing. So I wasn't really thrown off by that. It's definitely normal then.
And then his mom is doing the thing that, gets me nervous. I don't trust people to cut food. So the entire time she was cutting, I'm like, this bitch is going to cut her finger off.
And she was watching TV, too, at the same time, cutting onions. And I'm like, don't do it.
Yep.
Don't do it.
This is a risky game, girl. This is risk. And you're at, like, the end of the onion. That's the most dangerous part of the onion to be at.
Now, why didn't the dad invent a slicer or something?
Because there's enough of those.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
He was probably just like, oh, well, you only use my inventions. And since I didn't invent it, you got to use a knife. You can't be supporting other people's inventions. She's like, oh, hey, can you do the eggs? And God, that egg cracker scared the shit out of me.
It's very violent.
Of all the things that scared me in this movie, that egg cracker got me. It was brutal. Well, Dad comes home, and I remember my first thing I thought, and I think I even said it out loud, was, oh, wait, you didn't divorce him?
Yeah, that's like, literally what you said.
You're still choosing to be with him?
Apparently, she looked like she really still loves him, too, so.
But, like,
yeah,
you challenge Erin in the movie in a haunt bad bitch spectrum, and you're choosing it to be with that lump.
She doesn't realize her worth, obviously. I think that's what it is.
Or maybe he just makes a lot of money with a whole bunch of bullshit.
Sure. I doubt
it. He threw $200 on the table like it was no issue.
And this is back in 84.
Yeah. Either way, he brings Gizmo home. And we get... This was the moment where I thought, I'm either going to... this movie's going to have you, or for the next hour and a half, I'm going to hear nothing but you bitching. There's no in between. It's either you're going to be like, I'm in, this is great, or, oh my God, this is creepy, I hate it, make it stop. Gizmo comes out. I remember your first reaction was like, oh, what was that? I'm like, it's the thing in the box. The dog looks like he wants to go, though. The dog's like, I want to attack it.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes out, and the one thing that made you love him was the puppet. The actual, animatronic puppet.
Absolutely. It was such a cute puppet. The nose movements were really good. The eyes. It's a very expressive puppet. I just forgot what good physical props and puppetry looks like. I was really impressed.
Yeah, I mean, how many movies have we had in the... Listen, this movie, the puppetry was great, I guess. But compared to Turkey...
Shut up.
compared to Turkey and his tight little ass with his shotgun. What can Gizmo pull out of his ass?
Nothing compares.
Exactly. He's gonna pull 3D glasses out of his ass. Ooh, wow, that's surely gonna save the day.
But yeah, no, it was a really, really good puppet, and it sold me immediately.
And this is the reason why I'm very excited that for the next year we're in Monsters, because this is, getting any sort of puppet or a really good practical that just wasn't a blood splurt in slasher movies is rare. At least with monsters or just creatures in general, it's always different. You're always going to get like a different presentation or a different representation. We had Turkey. I will always say Turkey was fantastic. I love him to death. And then you have, when you have a budget and you can make a puppet.
And when you have quality.
No. Listen. This movie was made on an 11 mil budget.
Holy shit.
Ended up making 212 mil. So.
Holy shit.
It made its money back. If you gave Thanksgiving $11 million.
Movie of the year.
Bitch, they had a musical that was off Broadway and successful. If they can do that with the basically equivalent of, a ham sandwich worth of a production cost, imagine what they could do with Gremlins. Just saying. Can you imagine all the titties that would be in that Thanksgiving? There'd be a titty every scene. Thanksgiving's going to make its way into every episode. I'm just marking it now. It will be in every episode. We're changing our banner to Thanksgiving.
Nope. Let's continue with Gremlins, please.
Let's continue to the holidays. Thanksgiving's over, Ryan. Can you just not talk about it anymore? But we get the rules, and Mom breaks the rule right away. She's like, "Ooh, let me take a picture," and she blasts. And also, Gizmo's voice is adorable. And just like the little words he'll say is adorable.
Bright light.
Yes. And then he goes to the bedroom. We cut to the bedroom. And we get him singing while Billy is playing. I guess it's... What was he playing?
It's like a little keyboard.
Yeah. And you fell in love.
I did.
I was like, great, she's in.
I did. He's playing the music and he sings along and it's adorable. I loved it.
And then, if what happens next didn't happen next, this movie would have ended right there. But and they lived happily ever after. Except that little fucker from Friday the 13th Part 4 shows his fucking head.
He never shows up later, does he?
No, he just shows up then, which makes it more sickening.
He spills water on Gizmo.
I don't give a shit about the water. I just give a shit that he showed his face. I watched Friday Part 4.
So did I.
Not by my own volition, by the way. I had struggled really hard.
It was terrible.
And he thinks he can strut back in during season 2 of all things. If you showed back in season 1, fine, it's slashers. You'll leave eventually. But now I have to deal with the stink of you in season 2.
Did you know that he was in this movie?
No. Which is why the moment he walks on, you hear me have a visceral reaction. And then you slowly piece it together. You see that ugly ass haircut.
It is the same
haircut. You hear
haircut.
that annoying ass voice. And you're like, bitch, it's that fucking kid again. He already ruined 1 season. He don't need him to ruin 2. He spills water on Gizmo, and I guess moves the plot forward.
We get 5 more little Moogles.
I will say that was the only thing Gizmo did that disgusted you.
Yeah. Oh, God. It was spewing out of his back, and he was making terrible noises. I hated it.
And they did that close up on the puppet face, and it is it had a good emotional spectrum on the puppet.
You could tell.
It wasn't just adorable or wonder. It was sad, scared, in pain. It had it all, which is impressive. Either way, 5 more get bred, and one's like, oh, that one has a stripe on his head. Ends up being Stripe, the leader of the Misfits. Billy decides he's going to take one of them to school. What the fuck, Billy?
Because he's giving it to the science teacher to do experiments on because he's never seen anything like it. And I'm like, okay, you're a small town. Apparently your science teacher in high school is like the smartest guy.
Your high school anatomy teacher.
He's the whiz.
Yes. I will say there was one good scene in this. It was when the two of them were like on the different side of the box and they were knocking at each other.
Yeah, that was adorable.
That was adorable. But we cut back later that night and we have Gizmo wearing 3D glasses.
Reading a comic book.
Yes. Gizmo in the bedroom in general is great. Him watching the TV, loved it.
He's having a good time.
And then we get, okay, let's talk about this. You know, they're hungry, the little fuckers. They're a little hungry. Billy's like, Gizmo, do you want some food? And Gizmo's like, nah, I'm good. I got a comic book. We're good over here. I'm in bed. You know, I'm good for the night. He opens up the fridge door. This chicken.
This unseasoned pile of chicken.
Chicken that had no covering, ready for the flies. He opened the door, and my stomach started to hurt looking at it. Where was the salt? I'm just looking for salt. Maybe pepper. Because I know that... This is an
extremely white family in 1984. I
know. Until like 2019, pepper was taboo for white people. I get it.
and then
it wasn't until 2021 we found out about garlic salt. I know.
He feeds it to them, and the noise. I took my headphones off, and I couldn't take it. It was like, I'm not even gonna replicate it. Do not replicate it.
I can't replicate that one.
Good. It was, when someone's like smacking their lips while they're eating and all the blah, blah, blah noises. It was gross.
It wasn't the noise that fucking grossed me out. It was when they closed up on their faces and it was drooled. It was just
drooly and gross. It was disgusting. It was horrible.
It was gross. I have a question though. So, for those in YouTube world, you never heard this episode. For you on Spotify, you know which episode this is. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 to Dream Warriors had two scenes you hated really badly. The paper mache scene and the suck tongue scene. Where does this rank in that?
It's below paper mache. But above... What was the other one?
Oh, where he sucks tongue
yeah.
and then he shoots his tongue at her.
It's above that one.
How I thought it was gonna be paper mache, but
no, paper mache was a very long scene, and it was just it was disgusting. They're the equivalent of the cringe that people feel when they hear the word moist, but like times 20.
I will say this was gross. But if you ever watched Nightmare on Elm Street 2 with headphones on and you heard those two teens like fucking going at it, you never think of it again.
It was horrible. Anyways.
It was a terrible experience.
Yeah, so he fed them after midnight.
Eat chicken.
With this disgusting chicken. I think it was the chicken, not feeding them after midnight. They changed them into gremlins.
It was the salmonella from the chicken.
Oh my god. And I was like, oh, they definitely cut the cord on the clock. Guess what? They did. And they become pupas. Nasty, disgusting, alien, xenomorph looking fucks.
They went to like the whatever prop room that the fucking xenomorph eggs were, and they were like, hey, we're gonna need to borrow some of these for our movie.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Bye. And they just jetted. And at the same time, there's a pupa in, like, the science teacher's cage, and it's just, like, seeping out of the cage. It's disgusting. Oh, God. Sorry. I'm just that chicken scene was hooey. Oh, you know what? I just want to talk about something real quick. Ads. The promotions that this movie gave us.
Oh, you want to run through it?
Because we've already gone through a few of them. Oh no, I'll go through them as we're going through. At this point, we already have 3. Burger King was. I was just like right there. I was like, huh. I want that wet, disgusting, juicy classic chicken sandwich that the mayo is put there not to make it taste better, but to hide the juice that seeps out of the chicken.
And the mayo is put on both the bottom and the top bun.
Exactly, because they're hoping that when you take a bite, the mayo will catch the juice that squirts.
Anyways,
shit's nasty.
So there was Burger King.
There was Coca-Cola.
Oh, I didn't see the Coca-Cola one.
How the fuck? Okay, I get it. You were probably looking at his dry ass ham sandwich and didn't notice the Coke next to his plate.
Oh yeah.
Because that sandwich was arugula. He took a bite and I was like,
Are we at Snickers yet?
We're about to get to Snickers.
Oh, okay.
You know what's the best part? It was like you were like, what? We were watching the movie and you were like, oh, he kind of cute. And then the next scene, it's him eating this disgusting sandwich. And I'm like, that's cute. That's cute.
His
Bitch,
face.
I'm not even into mayo, but he needs a condiment.
His face was cute.
He has M&Ms on the bed. Not on a plate, on the bed, on the bed. He plays it all on that risk where he just takes the Coke and lays it on the bed with no support. That shit can fall.
Also, speaking of M&Ms, there were so many E.T.
There were
references, merch.
I forget how big E.T. was.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Fun fact. You know why E.T. still isn't Universal, right? The rumor is Spielberg did a thing with Universal where it was like, as long as you keep the ride, I'll distribute movies through you guys. If you remove the ride, I'll stop distributing movies through you guys.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
The power of Spielberg.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, if you have that power, those are the healthy ways to flaunt it. Where you're like, no, you're not getting rid of the ride based off my movie. That's the healthy way to do it. Up next is Snickers, though. So, we go back to school the next day, and I guess we're watching a movie about the class is just watching a video about hearts, and you get a very nice tour of this man's his dissection. There's so many body parts. I don't get it, because I'm like, you're the science teacher. You're not the anatomy teacher. Why do you have so many body parts?
It's a small town. He probably is the anatomy teacher as well.
Either way, he sees that the thing probably got out, and he kicks everyone out of the room. Once that class ends, of course, to get all of them to leave. He then does the stupid thing. He goes and gets a Snickers. And he decides he wants to feed the gremlin. Now, the gremlin wants the Yum Yum, but the Snickers ain't the Yum Yum for this one.
Nope.
No. Your finger's the Yum Yum. Also, everything for the gremlins right now is the Yum Yum. But he gets his hand bitten off. And then he dies. Who would have saw that one coming?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get to what's probably the best scene in this movie. We're almost there. We're so close. Billy gets to the school, of course. But let's cut away from Billy. Let's get to Mommy.
Yeah, so the gremlin kills the science teacher and escapes. And I think he goes to call his mom.
Well, he's calling his mom
to say that, they're hatching or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, and to get out of the house. And mom's like, oh, shit.
Let me grab a knife while I'm cooking these gingerbread cookies. And poor Gizmo is just getting, thrown around up there.
Yeah, they bully Gizmo. They throw him down the laundry chute.
Yeah, that's probably the safest thing that could have happened to him in all reality. But I think Gizmo has such a good sad face. Like, they really did a good sad/worried face for the puppet. But Mom hears what is probably my nightmare too, is you're upstairs and all of a sudden Christmas music starts playing. Shock, horror, gasp. And wasn't it like Silent Night?
No, I think it was Little Drummer Boy.
Okay. Silent Night was played something. Oh, it was when they did the caroling. It was probably Silent Night.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Either way, Christmas music plays and she falls down like, and I'm like, same. I get it. I get it. If I heard Christmas music randomly, I would probably drop dead also. I worked at retail. I had to listen to Mariah Carey for 5 times a day for a month and a half. I don't wish that on people. So she goes down the stairs. And what movies... Okay, so here's the thing. A movie like this usually would dictate that these things are going, probably not to kill her, but they're going to get the upper hand on her. Just how it goes. That's like how these movies go. The mom never gets the upper hand. But she ain't like most moms.
No, she's not.
She decides... You know what's the best part? Is like, she gets the upper hand on them before they do on her, because she just decides to blend one.
Yeah, she's like, all right, these guys are trouble. One sitting near her on the blender, she knocks it over into it or something like that, and then she just turns it on. Something to that effect happens.
Yeah, I mean, he was eating the cookies.
Yeah.
It was disgusting how he was, like, the drool on any of these characters are disgusting.
I hated
That's
it.
how I can put it.
I hated it.
But he gets blended. And I thought the twist was going to be that she tries to blend him, but then since it's the father's creation, it doesn't work, because then it would have followed with the joke. Oh, let's just backtrack real quick for one thing. The orange juice maker.
Oh, yeah.
That didn't make sense. That shot out so much juice. And also, where does the peel go? I'm genuinely interested in this maker. I want to know what they did. Also, the coffee maker that shot out tar.
Oh, yeah. That was disgusting.
That was an experience. I'll say that one. Watching that was a little nasty. But, back. She then proceeds to stab one to death.
Yeah, she just...
That one was brutal.
Just goes at it.
And then the final one, you know, if you told me, oh yeah, the mom's just going to put one of them in the microwave and make it explode, I would have been like, okay, sure.
That was a really good scene.
That was. I was expecting them not to show me it explode.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, you know, budget, effects, all that stuff. Now, you know, she goes to the living room. And what is actually a really good scene is you see the gremlin in the Christmas tree, but barely. It's just like his red eyes. It's a really good shot.
It is. I really liked it. He blended in well.
And
with
I just
the
find
tree.
it funny. It did.
Mm-hmm.
I found it just really funny how it looked like she was fighting a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And then eventually, Billy comes home and he cuts its head off and it lands perfectly in the fireplace.
And then we see it on fire. It's really cool. Really, really,
It was
really
really cool. You know what would have been cooler? A dead Santa body in the chimney. Full circle.
Oh, yeah. Full circle.
And then we see Stripe. And for some reason, Stripe's the only one that got to keep his hair at some point.
Yeah. Because he's
Everyone
a
else
leader.
gets
He's
spikes.
cool. He's got a
I
mohawk.
feel like there was like some 14-year-old that's like, yeah, I'm like Stripe.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, God. Every time I saw Stripe, I just got reminded of that kid from Toy Story. The one that like fucked up his toys.
Sid.
Yeah. Those names actually fit with each other very well. Mm-hmm. Sid and Stripe. All right. We then get montage. Which I was shocked this movie actually just went through a... This movie doesn't kill people. It just kills people in a montage.
Because they couldn't be too violent. It's still a Spielberg movie.
True. We kill the highly problematic racist dude.
With his wife, with the snowplow.
Yes. He had a very scary Santa thing on his I don't even know what it was, but it was like the face of Santa and it was staring into my soul. I hated it.
Real quick, this is after the YMCA scene.
I forgot about the YMCA.
So
I remember we were watching it and you're like, is there a pool in there? It's like, bitch, it's the Y. What Y doesn't have a pool in it?
So Stripe understands that he needs to go into water to make more of himself, and he does. And the practical effects inside the pool were so good. There was so much dry ice and smokes machines, the bubbling, the green lights. It was really, really cool.
I found it funny because when this episode comes out, probably like a few weeks ago, we just put out People Under the Stairs. And that scene has the dry ice in it. That movie has the dry ice. And we're like, yeah, that, like, if you go back and listen to that episode, it's like, oh, that was a good use of dry ice. This is dry ice on crack.
Yeah.
It kept zooming out, and we're like, oh my god, it's bubbling more. Oh my god, it's more. To the point where we were both like, how many cuts do you think that had? Like, do you think like they had like a set amount? They're like, we can only do this once, so get every fucking angle, and all y'all's asses better be behind this camera.
Oh, 100%. Like 2 at the most it would take to do that scene, but too expensive.
I also like that during this scene. Okay, so the reason why we can't remember it very well was as we were watching this, we were having a conversation, and we were like, so, when they're duplicating, do they have to be in their furry form, or can they be lizard people and duplicate? Like, what's the rules? And we were like, I don't know, but like, do you know? No, me either.
We were really getting into the lore.
We were.
You know what it is?
Like, we need explanations.
You know what it is? Because the movie starts in the first 10 minutes being like, there's 3 rules. And I'm like, okay, so there's rules to these mechanics. Okay, like, this makes sense. But then we're like, there's intricate parts to the rule, right? Like, is it midnight where it's located? Is it midnight where it was born? Like, I'm just thinking about all these things, so.
But also, I think it's that thing of, we saw, and this is where it gets confusing at times, is because we saw Gizmo get wet, and then he made furry buddies. So I guess the next question would be, well, if you're already a lizard person, can you make lizard people, or do you have to be a furry man to make more furry people? This is way more complicated. I'm pretty sure someone's just, it's like, dude, if they get wet, they make more things. I'm like, okay, but furry or lizard, there's a difference, and I need it.
Yes. So while we were discussing that, the pool scene happened, and then they went on their tirade around the city or the town.
I love that tirade.
Yeah, it was
great.
great.
A great tirade.
It was great.
During this, he also goes to the police, but like, we can skip the police
that.
Scene sucks. However, Mrs. Deagle had to be the funniest fucking scene.
Oh, it was great.
The carolers, Lily just screaming la 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 la.
Yeah.
And then her flying out of the house.
Yeah. And then she just gets yeeted through her second-story window onto the sidewalk.
I love that scene so much. That's a great scene. That's definitely going in the hunt, just to let you know. That's going to be a room transition, so it's going to be her flying into you. We get Gremlins attacking Santa. Good job, guys. Doing the Lord's work out there. And then we get the cops. The cops die in, like, a stunt scene. With, like, their car gets flipped. You're like, okay. Because I guess Stripe or one of the Gremlins cut the brakes.
Mm-hmm.
We get to the bar. Now, this scene is... I want to know how many days this took.
Also, this is where all the money went.
Bit. Oh, 100%. Okay, well, first, I think we missed one thing. This was the one scene where the movie's like stop motion was really prevalent. Was when they were doing the army of Gremlins, and it was very much just stop motion animation. I remember you said you noticed it with the actual puppets at times.
In the beginning, when we're introduced to the puppet in the kitchen with the mom, the first puppet was stop motion, or at least in that one scene. Not when he gets put in the blender, but in that one scene.
Okay, so because I noticed it at moments, but I just thought maybe the frames were jacked.
Nope.
But man, this bar scene is. I genuinely just want to. I just want to go back in time and be on set on that.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see how that's made. Because there's a lot of puppets, there's a lot of moving parts, there's a lot of just different areas where this is getting filmed. How? You could have told me this took them like a month, and I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah. No, this was really impressive. It probably took about a week, probably, of just this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, Kate's just kind of stuck in there.
Poor girl. She's trying her hardest.
Fuck. I do think the funniest one was when she tried to light the cigarettes, and the poor gremlin was like, he wants it lit, but damn, that fire.
Yeah.
It's bright.
She uses the camera flashes to get out, and then Billy, coincidentally, is right there.
I do think we have some good scenes. We have the poker scene that ends in a gun, which may have been the reason why it had to get. They were saying it had to get moved to R. I get why you're saying that.
Yeah, it had to be the guns.
We get the burglar scene, which was odd.
Yeah. That
burglar scene was odd.
We have one that flashes Kate, like that old,
yes.
With a trench coat type of thing. I was like, okay, that's weird. Maybe that also, they were like, oh, we gotta put the ratings up for that.
That's like if you ever buy like life-size Gremlins, like the one you'll find out there the most is the flasher.
That's so weird.
It really is. But yeah, then there's the guy in the fan who goes flying into the neon sign. Can't forget him. We love him. And at this point, we've also gotten Allstate has made an appearance here. Okay. We're going into insurance, bitch. And also Mobil, the gas company. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, listen, we're the movie for the whole family. We got the Burger King, we got the Coke, we got the Snickers, we got the Allstate for those parents that really need insurance. We got Mobil oil for 99 cents. Oh my God.
There was also chips for 35 cents.
And they were pork rinds, and I know like pork rinds are technically cheaper, but like, bitch, 35 cents?
I know. Ugh, can we go back?
I'll go and just grab like $10 worth of that 99 cents oil real quick. I'll be good for a while.
Oh yeah.
And then, you know what? I'm just going to finish them up here. We eventually get to Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
Milk Duds.
Mm-hmm.
Milk Duds was a thing. They kept saying Milk Duds. Atari. Barbie. She gets her own section in a toy store.
She always does. I don't know why you're surprised.
But in a movie toy store. Wilson and Prince Sports Equipments. Like, they get like static shots. And I consider Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs ad placement, but it's good ad placement because it's enjoyable. When everyone starts singing and then Gizmo is also humming, it's a great scene. It's a fantastic scene. We're almost there, though.
Yes. So after,
because that's where they go next.
After the bar, they go to the bank. We learn about Kate's backstory. Boo-hoo. They go outside. It's a No.
This is our moment.
No, you just went over it. No, I'm skipping it. So then we go outside, and it's like a deserted town, and they're like, where'd they go? I don't know. And what is it? Billy looks inside and sees one of the gremlins eating at the concession stand, and then we're like, huh, they're in here.
There's one thing we forgot about Kate's backstory.
We forgot something?
Yeah. Do you remember the moral at the end? What, like, her revelation was?
No. I think I was too distracted by the way her dad died.
Her revelation was, and that's how I learned Santa wasn't real.
I forgot. Talk about the trauma. Talk about the therapy she needs for the rest of her life.
I like how like, it's not like, oh, and I learned that death is inevitable, or like something like that. It's just, no, I learned Santa Claus wasn't real.
Oh my god.
What did she think? Like, Santa was dead in the chimney? Like, oh my god, Santa's up there? And then like, oh my god, Santa died in my chimney? And then they took the beard off and like, oh my god, my dad's Santa? And they're like, no, bitch.
She went through a lot of emotions, this poor little 9-year-old girl.
Your dad was playing Santa, and then he died. Santa's not real. And she was like, oh, shook. Santa's not real, and my dad's dead? But out of the two of those, the more traumatizing thing is Santa's not real. Because that's the lesson of this story. Okay. If she comes back in the second movie, I want to know what she does in the second movie.
Okay.
Either way, the town has fallen silent. And they go, and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is playing, and it's amazing. I do remember the first scene we see of all of them in the movie theaters. Both their reaction at the same time was, "Oh my god!"
There's so many. They're fucking up. They're fucking up the film too, and then they finally figure it out, and then they play the movie.
Well, in between that, they're all shouting "Milk Duds." I guess like they all really like Milk Duds. Yeah. But also, like, you see how many like are in that movie theater. Like, oh my god, the dry ice before makes so much sense.
Yeah,
like, look at that. But we get Hi Ho, Hi Ho.
I don't think we can sing it too much without getting copywritten. So don't sing it.
Disney needs that money.
Anyways, they sing.
We just changed our CEO. We need more money now.
They sing one of the more famous songs from Snow White. It's about working and going.
But not like Rihanna's working. Like different type of working. But this is like manual labor.
It was freaking adorable to see these little lizard gremlins singing and loving it. And then we hear Gizmo singing it. Oh, it was so
he's
cute.
Humming it, which is even
it's still
cuter.
Cute.
I know. Either way, though, he sets the place on fire.
Yeah,
he just explodes it.
Starts the gas, and kaboom! There goes all the gremlins, except Stripe.
Well, yeah, because Stripe was like,
Candy.
He needs more Milk Duds, and then he saw more Yum Yum across the street.
Mm-hmm.
Stripe would have been in there, but
yeah.
he was tempted by the Yum Yum. Now, we get we get the final fight, which is so... It's boring because you're like, oh, maybe Kate will have a thing. She doesn't. She really doesn't. She just flips a bunch of switches.
Yeah, I thought she was going to turn on all... Well, she did turn on all the lights, but it didn't work. And then she
Gizmo saves the day.
Yeah, she ended up turning on the fountain, and that was a bad move.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Gizmo gets into the Barbie car and relives his dream of being in the movie that he watched earlier.
Yep.
That was cute.
And you were like, this is so cute.
It was
I'm
adorable.
like, oh my god, she's in love with this thing.
I am.
And then also, Barney comes back.
Yeah.
Barney, like, plops right back into the plot.
Yeah.
You know, Chick's dead. He got back from Grandma's house. He's now here to save his friend. And then we get what I think is probably the most... Oh, by the way, this area, so much ad placement. Atari,
yeah.
Barbie. This is where like, you get all the store.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we get all of that. And it ends in what I feel like could have caused the R rating besides the gun was Stripe melting into a skeleton.
It was so cool.
It was awesome.
Oh
it
my
was
god.
brutal, though.
Yeah, it was very gory, but it was so freaking cool. And then when he pops out at the end, and then he's like plopped onto the ground, and he's melting, it was awesome.
See, I think that was the moment I was like, oh, I can see where kids are scared now because this is a skeleton moving.
I immediately thought the same thing. I was like, oh, I could see where kids were getting scared for sure.
I would say, like, up until this point, I would be like, yeah, you know, like if you have like a 10-year-old, this is probably like a fun little movie to do with them. But then you get to that scene, and you're like,
never mind.
Okay, maybe a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
A 12-year-old can handle this one. But we get back. Everyone's saved. Huzzah. Unfortunately, Gizmo has to leave. And we don't like that. We don't like this ending. This ending sucks. Even though it does say bye, Billy, and it's adorable.
It's
and
really
we love
cute.
him.
Bye, Woof
I will
Woof.
say.
He says bye, Woof Woof.
Bye, Woof Woof. I do like bye, Woof Woof.
Yeah.
Bye, Woof Woof's probably the best. I will say probably one of my favorite things was when he gets injured at the beginning of the movie and he has the gauze around his ears. It's adorable.
That's so cute.
That, and we get the whole, which I forgot, I'll acknowledge, I forgot that this beginning of the movie starts like a story until the ending. I'm like, oh, right. It started with a whole thing. I guess it was a parable. The story was
probably. And Christmas themed, you're learning lessons around the holiday. I don't fucking know.
I feel like every company wanted to be in this movie because they were like, listen, if we get in June, everyone will get ready for us for Christmas.
100%. And it's a Spielberg movie.
And also, was in 1984, was Christmas in July a thing yet?
I have no idea.
Because I know that's like a thing now.
Yeah.
They're like, Christmas in July. And I'm like, bitch, it's fucking July. Shut up.
But
I don't need this.
Yeah, that was Gremlins. That was Gremlins. That was good. I guess we should get into our movie roundup now.
Oh, it's time to round it all up.
All right.
Even though, I just want to note one last thing. This is the first time that we've had this type of like police situation, like in the office and stuff, since Black Christmas. It's like Christmases that we came back to a police office. I just wanted to acknowledge. But that was Gremlins. Let's talk about how much we both loved it, but it wasn't quite like Thanksgiving.
Oh my God. All right, let's go. All right, everybody. This is our movie roundup for Gremlins. Safe to say we both liked it, probably on different scales. I enjoyed it because the practical effects were great. The environment was great. The acting was fine.
The acting was okay, I guess.
Yeah, but it was really enjoyable. I didn't think I was going to like this movie because I don't like creepy little dolls, but they weren't even that creepy.
And the only creepy dolls that were in the movie got beaten by a baseball bat. It's like the perfect world.
So it was really good. I think I'm going to give it a 6.
Wow. I like it. Like, I thought it was good. A 6.
Maybe 6.5. So I'll go 6.5. Final answer.
Okay. I think this movie's practical effects give it at least an 8. I think the one downfall to this movie is campy 80s acting.
And the racism.
That is not so subtle.
Yeah.
There's been movies, I think, last episode, I hate keep going back to Thanksgiving, but going back to Thanksgiving, that movie had some taboo shit in it, like ways to refer to people. I'd say that because I don't want to say them out loud. But even then, I wasn't like, whoa. I was like, wow, that's kind of distasteful. Jesus. This movie, it starts and I'm like, oh, like it starts like, and we're in Chinatown. I'm like, oh no, this is the one part I don't want to be in.
Yeah.
There's a boy and a white man. I don't want to be in this type of town in this type of situation. Get me out. And then we get what is, I'm guessing, some sort of proxy for somebody. The dude who hates foreigners.
Yeah, he just hates foreign everything, and it definitely bleeds into, people not born in the United States.
Even though I do think the one kind of cool thing was when he was talking about Gremlins with his plow, it does actually he was referring to like actually what like the term for Gremlins was initially made for.
Oh, yeah.
Which I saw it was cool to not be like, oh, well, there. And at the end, it kind of was, the Gremlins were in his tractor. I just thought it was cool. However, you're right. the very uncomfortable amount of stuff, because it wasn't like Thanksgiving where they maybe said it once or twice and then kind of moved on. This was like something they kept circling around to. And sure, you can say, oh, well, the character got his comeuppance in the end. That doesn't matter because he's been in a lot of other scenes and probably shouldn't have been. We probably should have just had that 23-year-old jackass take over for some of his scenes. I would probably give this movie... It's hard for me to not give it an 8, so I'm just going to give it an 8.
Okay.
I think it's a really well-made movie with really good practical effects, with, a really nice... There's a very few movies that, can carry the Christmas, the Christmas theming without having Santa in it, or a variation of, like, evil Santa in it. I get it. It's easy. But it's a little different to have to kind of just have something set in Christmas time and still kind of have that Christmas feel to it. So I'm going to give it an 8. Okay. You're going to give it a 6.5.
Yeah, I'll do 6.5. Yeah.
I'm going to keep moving you up. Like, you're going to give it a 7. Did I hear 10? Oh my God.
Crazy.
Crazy. But I will say, compared to Thanksgiving, this haunt should not be hard for you.
No, mine's kind of cohesive, but I never do anything that's like set in stone.
Enter the titty.
Mine is always just like, the aesthetic of a house. But yeah.
I just want you to feel vibes when you go into my house.
That's what I'm all about, baby.
I'm not caring about if I'm scaring you. I'm just caring about if my house passes the vibe check.
But yeah, let's get into our haunts. How about that?
Yay!
All right. All right, let me start out with my vibes. Quote unquote haunt.
Is Paige going to pass the vibe check? You shall be the judge.
I think Gizmo should sit on our little cart the entire time, and he's leading us through the house. Because it's on a cart. And that's what I want. We go through the town. We get, like, the Christmas themes. Everybody's doing Christmas shit. There's snow and everything. Multiple gremlins are made in the pool scene next. So, like, we get, like, the bubbling pool, the dry ice. I thought it would be pretty cool. And then we see, like, the pupa stuff. Then they break out. We see them break out. And they're going through the town. The town's, like, on fire. Everything's going crazy. And then we get through the kills. So, like, we'll see Mom killing them in the kitchen because that's too awesome not to include. Mrs. Deagle flies out of her house. I'm glad. I hope we both have her in there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. The plow kind of like goes in front of us and then goes into the neighbor's house. And then the bar can be 2 rooms. We can see all the nonsense going on in there. At the end, we go through the movie theater. We probably wouldn't be able to copyright or anything with the Snow White, so I don't know how that would work. We go towards the screen because I really like that one shot when they're on the white screen. It's the shadows of the gremlins, and then they kind of like claw at the screen. That was really cool. We back up, and then we see stripes on the rows of TVs as we leave the haunt, and that's pretty much it. So I didn't have the gremlins being destroyed.
So, here's mine. Unfortunately, this doesn't have the gloriousness of a 20-foot titty.
Unfortunate,
I know. Halloween Horror Nights won't be calling us for this one. I actually think they've done Gremlins.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
It's odd. It was during their years where they were like, we're doing Ghostbusters. It was like their 80s years.
Oh, that
makes
sense.
Ghostbusters, Gremlins, Stranger Things. It was like
that makes
a year.
sense.
The facade as we entering the Shop of Wonders, because I don't know what the fuck that shop was called. I just called it the Shop of Wonders because there was definitely, they probably just went to another set and were like, can we take all the Indiana Jones stuff and just put it in this room, please? Inside the shop, we have the beginning of the movie monologue to remind people, do you remember that this movie had a monologue? And Gizmo singing in the corner. Room number 2. And we also get the rules, basically. Like, there's just rules. Room number 2. We're in the bedroom. We see Gizmo having a mental breakdown with the rip-off xenomorph eggs around him. Room 3. We go past the kitchen with the dead gremlins. Disgusting. And we end up in the living room with the tree jump scare from the gremlin.
Okay.
We go into a transition room and we hear the sounds of the gremlin army. They sound disgusting. The next room is, this one's crazy. It's like yours, but like more crazy. You're in the house and all you see is lights coming at you. It's a tractor, bitch.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And it breaks through. At the next room, we're outside. The gremlins are killing Santa and singing Christmas carols. As you are going by them, Mrs. Deagle flies out of the window and over your cart into the street.
Fantastic.
We go into another transition room. It's the radio wave attack. Let them know they've gone crazy. I also have 2 rooms of the bar, same as you.
All right.
It ends with the gremlin flying into a neon sign and the jump scare by the burglar because it was very memorable to me. I don't know why the burglar was memorable, but it was. Room number 8. We're going to the movie theater, but we're outside and we get a jump scare from the hood of a car by the gremlin, the one who jumps out. I remember it. Number 9, movie theater time. That's what I called it. It's just called movie theater time. Number 10, Stripe in the store. Number 11, we're going to scare the shit out of these children. Stripe melting jump scare. And room 12, I went back and I was like, you know what? We got to end it correctly. We end with Gizmo waving goodbye to everybody.
Aww.
In ways of like, kind of like the E.T. ride at Universal.
Yeah. Cute.
Yeah. And I was also thinking, when I said, like, enter the Shop of Wonders, in the Shop of Wonders, I was thinking, like, kind of like the Mummy ride. Yeah, but I was thinking Gizmo ends it being like, bye-bye, woof woof.
That's adorable. I like it.
So, do I need to cut one of my 15 rooms, bitch?
No, I think it was good.
Exactly. I would have cut stuff if I had to. Remember, I had how many rooms for Thanksgiving? Like 8?
Yeah.
I can censor myself.
But yes, that sounded like a lot of fun. I could totally see that.
Watch if someone's like, dude, this is what Halloween Horror Nights did. I'm like, fuck, fuck,
sons of bitches. But
they stole my idea 5 years ago.
So that was Gremlins, and it is part 1 of part 2 of our holiday special for our season of monsters.
We doubled from last year. Last year, 1 Christmas movie. This year, we got 2. But we still get that fucking kid in December. God damn it.
Yeah. But I hope you guys liked it. If you guys like Gremlins, tell us what you think. If you have fond memories of it from when you were younger, was this kind of like your launching point maybe into horror movies? That could be very possible. But yeah, join us next time where we will be doing Krampus.
2015. There's like 50 Krampus movies.
Oh, thanks. Okay, 2015's Krampus. You could tell that I've obviously never seen it before, so I'm excited, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And thank you for joining us, and happy holidays, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
5 innocent people killed, not a sign of a human.